Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Simple Business Talk. I'm Emma, your host, and I'm so happy to have you here again.
Hi, Emma. Hi, listeners. It's good to be back. We've had two great episodes already. What's our topic for today?
Money management. Most people think it's all about complex investment strategies and cryptocurrency. But what if the real secret to wealth isn't making more, but mastering the basics that 76% of Americans are getting wrong?
That's quite a statistic. And you know what's even more striking? Studies show that financial stress affects mental health more than any other life factor.
Well, here's something that really opened my eyes. The average millionaire has 7 different income streams, but most people rely on just one. Let me share how this completely changed my approach to money.
Hold on. 7 streams? That sounds incredibly complex for someone just starting out.
You know what's interesting? It actually starts much simpler. Think of it like building blocks. Most successful people begin with just their salary, then gradually add passive income sources over time.
So, what would you say is the first building block everyone should focus on?
Let me share something that transformed my own finances: the 50-30-20 rule, but with a psychological twist. Track not just what you spend, but why you're spending it. Research shows 65% of purchases are emotional decisions.
Hmm. That reminds me of behavioral economics. How our psychological biases affect financial choices.
Exactly right. And here's where it gets fascinating. Studies show we feel the pain of losing money twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining the same amount. That's why so many people make overly conservative investment decisions.
Well, that explains why my friend panics and sells stocks every time the market dips slightly.
Speaking of market behavior, let me share something surprising. If you had invested $10,000 in the S&P 500 30 years ago and just left it alone, you'd have over $170,000 today, but the average investor earned less than half that return because of emotional trading.
Those numbers really put things in perspective. What about people just starting their financial journey?
Here's what's interesting. Research shows that starting with just $10 a week in savings builds more long-term wealth than waiting to save larger amounts. It's about building the habit first, then scaling up.
That's quite different from what we usually hear about needing large sums to start investing.
You know what really drives this home? A study found that 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency expense. But those who started saving just 1% of their income and increased it by 1% each year were 80% more likely to reach their financial goals.
That's exactly why we need to talk about the basics more than complex strategies.
Well, let me share something that changed my perspective completely. When I started tracking my spending, I discovered I was wasting nearly $500 monthly on subscriptions and services I barely used. That's $6,000 a year, enough to max out an IRA.
Oh, wow, that kind of money could really change someone's financial future.
And here's what's even more powerful: compound interest. If you invest that $500 monthly starting at age 25 with an average 7% return, you'll have over $1.1 million by age 65. That's the kind of boring wealth building that actually works.
So, if we focus on these fundamentals, what would you say are the most critical steps?
Let me break it down into 3 research-backed strategies. First, automate your savings. Studies show automatic transfers increase saving rates by 56%. Second, use the debt snowball method. Research shows people are 80% more likely to become debt-free when paying smallest debts first. Third, maintain an emergency fund. This reduces the likelihood of high-interest debt by 72%.
Those are some compelling statistics. How do you suggest people stay motivated?
Well, here's something fascinating from behavioral science. People who write down their financial goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. But here's the key: the goals need to be tied to personal values, not just numbers.
That makes so much sense. It's about the why, not just the what.
Exactly. And speaking of the why, research shows that past a certain income level, about $75,000 annually in most areas, additional money doesn't significantly increase happiness. What matters more is financial security and freedom of choice.
That really challenged the common belief that more money always equals more happiness.
You know what's interesting? A recent study found that people who focused on financial freedom rather than wealth accumulation were 3 times more likely to report high life satisfaction. It's about creating options, not just building a bigger bank account.
That's quite a powerful reframe for thinking about money.
And here's what ties it all together. Financial wellness isn't about having the most money, it's about having enough to live according to your values. Studies show that people who align their spending with their personal values report 23% higher life satisfaction, regardless of income level.
That's a perfect note to end on. It's about mastering the basics and staying true to your values.
Well, remember everyone, your financial journey is unique. Focus on progress, not perfection, and keep building those healthy money habits one step at a time. Next week, we'll dive into stock market basics, what stocks are, how they work, and how beginners can start safely.